Grandpa was 98 years old, and Grandma was 89. The two of them had been together for 76 years, and they were still just as much in love. When Grandma swept up the fallen leaves, Grandpa would scoop up the pile and toss them on her. When Grandma washed vegetables by the river, Grandpa would toss pebbles into the water. He never left her side, not even for a moment. Whenever the best flowers bloomed in the yard, Grandpa would always pick them for Grandma, then tuck them behind her ear, telling her she was even prettier than the flowers. At night, Grandma was afraid of the dark and didn't want to go to the bathroom alone. So Grandpa would sing outside the door to comfort her. When she came out, she'd ask him if he was cold. They had gone from young sweethearts to two heads of white hair. Firewood that Grandpa could once lift with one hand back when he was young, now took several rest stops just to carry, but he still insisted on carrying it all by himself, and Grandma would walk beside him, feeling at ease. Grandpa always joked that he'd live to be 100, and that Grandma would still have to cook for him then. She'd say she didn't want to wait on him, but whenever Grandpa wanted pickled vegetables, she'd start preparing them the moment she got home. No matter what Grandma cooked, Grandpa would always say it was delicious. If he liked something, he'd eat a lot of it. If he didn't, he'd just eat a little. Winter came quickly that year. The yard was buried under a thick blanket of snow. Grandma had heard that eating the season's first snow made your eyes brighter, so the two of them took turns eating spoonfuls of snow. After Grandpa finished his share, he said he could now see all the way to the other side of the mountain. Grandma burst out laughing at that. Soon enough, they were having a snowball fight in the yard. Together they built two snowmen. Grandma pouted and said her hands were cold, so Grandpa cupped her hands in his and breathed warm air on them. As the new year drew near, their children all came back home one by one, and the house suddenly felt lively again. The two of them even copied their granddaughter and made heart signs with their hands for everyone. The love between them was something even their kids couldn't help but envy. The house filled with laughter made them both happy, but the good days didn't last. That year, one of the eyes fell off the snowman Grandma had built. Grandpa's health also started to decline. Every night he'd cough all night long. He began to fear the nights without light, afraid that one day he might not wake up again. The lights they used to turn off early to save electricity now stayed on all night long. Grandma would always wait until Grandpa had fallen asleep before she'd let herself rest easy. But once she was fast asleep, Grandpa would quietly open his eyes and gently stroke her face. His health kept getting worse. Now he had to stop and rest after just a few steps, but he still refused to let go of her hand, even for a moment. One day, Grandpa wanted to hang the mirror back up after it had fallen, but they were both too old to move it. Before he left this world, Grandpa wanted to make sure everything was taken care of for Grandma. On Grandma's birthday, all their children came home, but at the dinner table, over the question of who would care for their parents, an argument broke out again. The children went back and forth about how hard their own lives were. Each one tried to pass the responsibility to someone else. Grandpa and Grandma sat quietly, listening. He worried about what would happen to her after he was gone. She just quietly wiped away her tears. That day was their routine checkup at the hospital. They wore matching outfits and walked in hand. While Grandma was being examined, Grandpa stood awkwardly off to the side. She was afraid of pain and started crying out before the shot even began. After the shot was over, she complained that he just sat there without saying a word. He didn't say anything back. He just quietly rubbed her aching knee. A few days later, their little dog suddenly died. Grandma buried it in tears, watching Grandpa's unsteady figure walk away. She silently prayed that when he went, he'd take her with him too. That night, Grandpa couldn't stop coughing. From that day on, he was confined to his bed. The doctor said he was simply too old now, and that no medicine would help anymore. Their children knelt by his bedside, crying, regretting that they hadn't taken better care of their father. He waved them off, telling them to go handle their own lives. That day, while Grandpa was still asleep, Grandma gathered up all of his clothes and threw every last one of them into the fire, worried that he might feel cold. She even burned a quilt for him. He had never been good at taking care of himself, so she wanted to make sure everything was ready for him ahead of time. She couldn't let him arrive in heaven with nothing to wear.
할아버지 데려와요. 데려오면 내가 할아버지 손목 잡고.
There was so much about him she couldn't bear to let go of. Whenever Grandpa was feeling a bit better, Grandma would sit by his side and talk to him without stopping. She'd tell him about the new puppies born at home, and even though he was very weak by then, he'd still listen with a big smile on his face. Real love was hidden in these small, everyday moments. His health had gotten very bad by this point. Grandma ran her hand over his sunken stomach and couldn't help but cry from the ache in her heart. In his final days, Grandpa was taken to the hospital. Grandma followed carefully behind, too afraid to go in. All she could do was stand at the door and cry helplessly. After going home, she packed away all her pretty dresses and washed her mourning clothes. getting them ready, Grandma often imagined how wonderful it would be to die together with him. Grandpa used to say that people were no different from flowers and trees. We all bloom in our most vibrant season, and eventually have to accept the day we wither. He had always taken death in stride. The only thing he couldn't bear to leave behind was her. In the end, Grandpa passed away in the middle of a snow-covered winter. Grandma burned his clothes so he'd have them with him, telling him to take good care of himself even without her.
할아버지 보고 싶더라도 참아야 돼. 난도 할아버지 보고 싶어도 내가 참는 거야.
She cried alone in front of his grave for a very long time.